As we begin our study of world religions, it is important to keep in mind that generalizations about religious traditions and beliefs and practices can lead to misunderstandings. The purposes of this course are to promote religious literacy, to understand diverse perspectives and have conversations across religious differences, and to foster inclusivity within Poly. We will be learning about why people practice religion in various ways and why some people do or don't believe in anything supernatural. Here are some major principles that we will use throughout the course. We will study religions through an academic, non-devotional approach. 2. Religions are internally diverse. 3. Religions evolve and change over time. 4. Religions are embedded in culture. And 5. Power is always relevant. How will we study religions? Our goal is to develop religious literacy. This will mean we will learn about religions we may know a lot about personally and those we have little knowledge of. We will try to maintain an academic perspective, not a devotional perspective, retaining a neutral, non-judgmental view on religious traditions we study. Some religions claim to have singular truth, to have all the answers. Others are more open to the ideas of other traditions. We will look at all religions with an outsider's lens. Next, religions are internally diverse. There are often significant differences among people who practice a particular religion. For example, Christians include Protestants, Roman Catholics, and Eastern Orthodox believers. Within each group, there are still more subgroups. Since Protestantism began in the 1500s, hundreds of denominations have developed. And while Roman Catholic and Eastern Orthodox believers have some common beliefs, there are also major differences. Similarly, there are Sunni, Shia, and Sufi Muslims. Some of their differences go back hundreds of years, yet they all revere the Prophet Muhammad and view the Quran as sacred. There are Theravada, Mahayana, and Zen Buddhists, and each approach their practice of religion differently. The three main branches of Judaism are Orthodox, Conservative, and Reform. So while members of a religious tradition have much in common, there are also significant differences. The third important principle is that religions evolve and change over time. In the United States, the tradition in colonial American Christianity was membership in small churches with a minister hired by the congregation. Often the church was at the center of village life. In the 19th century, religion on the frontier was quite informal, with camp meetings and untrained clergy. In the late 20th century, mega churches involved with thousands of members in attendance. The fourth principle is that religious traditions are embedded in culture. In some regions of the world, religious tradition cannot be separated from important elements of the region or a nation's culture. This is a picture of Hindus in India bathing in the Ganges River. And this is the Kaaba in Mecca. Muslims from around the world make an annual pilgrimage to Mecca as an important part of practicing Islam. The fifth principle is that power is always relevant. The Roman Catholic Church is headed by the Pope, who has enormous influence over religious practices and beliefs among Catholics all over the world. Some religious leaders, such as the Ayatollah in Iran, have religious, legal, and political authority and are very powerful in influencing their culture. Buddhist monks, as pictured here, are responsible for the preservation and spreading of the Buddhist teaching and the guidance of Buddhists. They often live in communes and are expected to be models of behavior for other Buddhists. But in addition to religious leaders, there is tremendous power in the ideas of religious traditions. The concept of nonviolence had its origins in Hinduism and has had impact around the world. Muslims follow the 5 pillars of Islam, which impact their daily lives. The anti-slavery movement in the United States was largely inspired by the Judeo-Christian ideas of justice and compassion. Many of the leaders of the civil rights movement in the 1950s and 1960s were inspired by Christian ideas and often led by ministers. Buddhism emphasizes karma, which is the law of cause and effect, reincarnation, and the importance of meditation. We will keep these principles in mind as we study many different religious traditions. In addition to these principles, there are three critical questions to consider when examining religious traditions. 1. What is ultimate reality? 2. How should we live in the world? And 3. What is our ultimate purpose in life? Different religious traditions provide different answers to these important questions, which we will examine over the course of the year.